this weekend, a get-right fight. This announced on short notice, September 22nd. In is JJ Aldrich off a big-time second-round TKO winner last time out. Came back in early September. Aldrich getting that win over Liang Na, and she's looking to turn it forward, replacing Egger to take on Montana De La Rosa. And why do I say it's a get-right fight? Well, for Montana De La Rosa, she has been, since the pandemic, a strictly apex fighter, but she's been less than that. Whatever an apex predator is, put yourself below that. Not a bear, not a shark, not a human. Montana
like
De La Rosa. Yeah, just a trash panda.
A lot.
But when you look at it for De La Rosa, she strictly fought, like I said, at the apex. 1-3 with a draw has been her record there in the small confines in front of tens of fans, and she gets the opportunity to try and turn it forward against Aldrich. And again, for Aldrich, I say a get-right fight as well, because you beat Liang Na as a very big favorite. You do what we expected you to do. However, if you go back and watch that Aldrich fight, which, honestly, I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't watch it when it was on. I'll be completely honest with everybody here. Didn't watch it. But going back and watching it, I went, holy smokes, JJ Aldrich takedown defense in that fight. Porous.
It is.
Listen, if you go down through it, there were 4 attempts from Liang Na, 3 in the first round, 1 in the second round. The 3 in the first round, all scarf hold throws, and she's able to get a couple of them, get in very advantageous positions. Aldrich is able to buck things out of the way and get it back into her domain. You saw that last one. She kind of goes for the double leg. She doesn't get it. Aldrich ends up on top. Aldrich pounds away. I mean, listen, just a call that's been heard for the ends of times. But for Aldrich, that was her first finish win since she beat 6 and 8 Kathina Lowe, somebody who had fought Montana De La Rosa as well. So again, I say it feels like these two have fought before. I was surprised that they hadn't, but there's a lot of interconnected weaves between these two fighters, because for Aldrich on The Ultimate Fighter, she loses to eventual champ Tatiana Suarez, who beat Montana De La Rosa. We know De La Rosa also from The Ultimate Fighter season 26, not at strawweight like JJ Aldrich was, but at flyweight she got beat out by eventual champ Nico Montano. So again, a lot of weaving threads between these two, and it very much is a clash of styles. You have round the outside JJ Aldrich with the striking. Takedown defense, not the greatest,
Spotty.
even though it's at 65% UFC stats. But when you look at it for De La Rosa, I mean, a national wrestling champ in high school, and she gets it done there when she gets her wins.
This is a weird fight because it kind of falls into a category where we normally talk about this phenomenon with regards to people in main events, which is, hey, both fighters have fought a pretty high level of competition throughout their UFC tenure. They fought a lot of recognizable names, and they themselves are those recognizable names. So I agree with you 100% when you say that it's a get-right fight, but it's a step further than that. The loser of this probably isn't going to fight any more of those recognizable names, and if they are still on the roster, they're probably going to be relegated back down to fighting those up-and-coming prospects, because it would be hard to see Montana De La Rosa on a 3-fight losing streak kind of get another chance of fighting the top 20 opponent.
Especially when you're an apex fighter. Again, the last 5 fights, all at the apex. De La Rosa in the UFC, 5-4-1. For the 5 wins by finish, she's second in flyweight history for submissions behind Jillian Roberts. And of course, but you look at those losses, you highlighted them. Andrea Lee, Viviane Araújo, Macy Barber, and Tatiana Suarez. And with the exception of Andrea Lee, who's on a 3-fight losing streak and for all intents and purposes probably done with the UFC, the other 3.
All 3 people. All great champions, all loved.
But the Andrea Lee fight is one that I do think is important to bring up when you mention this matchup, because Andrea Lee is someone who, again, she can use her kicks and fight at range, but she gets a lot of her best work done with her own hands and with the accuracy of her own hands. And if Aldrich is able to bust up Montana De La Rosa, similar to how Lee was able to, because Lee did a really good job at just making De La Rosa pay for getting into that middle to close range, because she wasn't able to just shoot for those naked takedowns and get away with it without taking damage. She was eating quite a bit, and by the end of that fight, Montana De La Rosa's face was a mask of blood. And I do think JJ Aldrich, if she is able to start working, especially on the back foot and moving forwards, I think she can have similar levels of success, and that's why the odds are really close, because both fighters are such opposites that you could see them both having a lot of success from the early goings, really the whole way through 30-27 either way, one of those deals. Because if De La Rosa is able to get the takedown, well, if she can do it round 1, she'd probably do it round 2 and 3. And if Aldrich can defend the takedown and answer with strikes, well, again, she could probably do it for rounds 1, 2, and 3 as well.
De La Rosa, again, a plus 550 underdog her last time out against Suarez. She's fought good competition. She's been wishy-washy so far. For JJ Aldrich, Good competition, but her one loss that you look at, similar to the Andrea Lee loss for Montana De La Rosa, that fight for De La Rosa versus Lee, it was a story of takedowns with nothing to go along with the takedowns, and then you, of course, the offense of Andrea Lee. For JJ Aldrich, a couple of fights ago, earlier on, not that long ago, Ariane Lipski, and it was a very flat performance from Aldrich. So you expected more out of Aldrich in that fight. You expect more out of Aldrich, all things considered. We know De La Rosa for that wild, crazy, close draw to Maeda Buena Silva, who's looked like all that and a bag of chips up at 135, except for that USADA suspension. So the Athletic Commission USADA, you got to watch out for. Again, the odds are close because it is an interesting fight. It's clash of styles. It's short notice for JJ Aldrich training out of Elevation. And then, of course, De La Rosa out of Genesis BJJ. We have a look at the Tapology votes. Matt, surprise to us there to you. I'm going to say over under 67.5% Aldrich.
I'll say under, but she'll be the favorite.
Under? It is slightly under. So 839 total votes, 61% Aldrich, 89% by decision. For the 39% that have De La Rosa, 79% have her to win by decision. Now, people don't like it when I go, oh, the Tapology voters, they're wild. However, for De La Rosa, when she does get wins, she tends to get finishes. So I'm a little bit surprised to see all the voters going to a decision in this one. But I do agree in one respect. I think it is a close fight. I'm not surprised by where the odds are at in this one. It's just going to be a story of can Aldrich defend those takedowns, which she struggled her last time out.
She definitely does. Now, in her defense, I should say, Montana De La Rosa shoots for much different kinds of takedowns than her last opponent did. De La Rosa is going to go for much more traditional single and double legs. Less of the throws. Not saying she can't do it. It's just, again, a lot of her offense does come from the more traditional double leg takedowns. So, again, I'm not saying Aldrich is great at defending those either. Don't get what I'm saying mixed up. But I do still favor Aldrich in this matchup. I do think on a full camp, the odds would favor her a little bit more than they do because, again, it pretty much is a pick-em. Because I think her cardio is going to be good enough to last all 3 rounds. Now, if she's on her back for all 3 of those rounds, there's not much you can do. She's probably going to lose the decision. But I think her strikes are damaging enough to at least get Montana De La Rosa to not be able to shoot a high volume of takedowns. And if she's not able to shoot a high volume to really get her head out of trouble, I think she is going to eat some boxing combinations as a result.
I tend to take JJ Aldrich in a lot of fights. I'm going with Montana De La Rosa in this one. When you watch Aldrich fight, again, from southpaw, you have a little slight advantage being from that position. But you do look at it for Aldrich, a lot of straight lefts, a lot of right hooks, not a lot of kicks, not a lot of body work. She will jab to the body, but she doesn't have much of a stinging right hook to the body. And when you look at it for Aldrich, again, even in that kind of pop them up, go down Liang Na, like she looked like she could have been an All-American wrestler. In that one sequence, Aldrich struggled in that as well. And you mentioned it. It's the non-traditional takedown attempts from somebody like Liang Na. But unlike Liang Na, Montana De La Rosa, when it gets down to the mat, doesn't wilt and give up. So, yeah, I don't normally say things like that, but watch Liang Na fights when she gets in disadvantageous positions. It's over. You can throw your cards in the air. It's over. Matt, we're splitting the pick in this one. You're going with JJ Aldrich. I'm going with Montana De La Rosa. Eager to see who the fans have in this matchup. Let us know down below in the comment section. Some big-time fights, including our next between Nate Maness and Matheus Mendonca. You're not going to want to miss that. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.